nothing good has ever come out of my life from rushing. And that's why I love having this show now and creating this space for myself, because I'm so good at doing the short reels. I'm so good at entertaining people, because that's basically what social media is. It's entertainment, right? I'm good at doing the high energy extrovert. And there's also this part of me that needs satiating. And that is the woman that wants to be slow as fuck. Because essentially, one of the reasons I love the internet is because I get to connect with you. And there's actually intimacy here. However weird that feels or sounds, or how parasocial that sounds, I like the internet because I like to connect. So today, I meditated for the first time in months. And I was reminded of how important it is to see through the discomfort that you feel of not receiving and experiencing the things that you want immediately. Meditation is the medicine for our addiction to instant gratification. I just finished recording an episode yesterday about lingering. And the mantra that I came up with while I was recording that episode, actually, I think I wrote about it in my journal months ago. And that's how it came to me in the episode. See, nothing is ever wasted. I fill my journals every single day. I've just finished with my yellow journal, and now I'm moving on to my green one. I normally would write in pink journals, but I've been loving these. How do you pronounce it? Leuchtturm? The German, am I pronouncing that right? Leuchtturm, I don't know. Oh, my Plymouth accent was coming out there. Leuchtturm. Anyway, I filled up my yellow journal, and something that I came to on a morning walk, maybe a couple of months ago in LA, was this mantra: the longer you linger, the deeper the magic. The longer you linger, the deeper the magic. And so this morning, I was meditating in a beautiful spot of nature in the hills in Los Angeles, because there are so few pockets of quiet in the city. So I went to this spot of nature and I saw this woman walking barefoot. So many people walk barefoot here. I love it. And I decided to sit on the bench and embody that mantra. I decided I wasn't just going to walk through this spot of nature. I was going to sit down and linger and be sticky there. I'm not going to just pass through. And so I sat down on this bench and I took a series of deep breaths using this technique that I learned at this breath work class I went to like 3 years ago. where you breathe into your stomach, your lungs, and then you take one last breath when you think you just can't feel your lungs anymore. And it kind of makes you feel high. And it's such a good gateway for me to get into this delicious fuzzy state that you can achieve through meditation. And so I was breathing and I just remembered how fucking important meditation is. Like, I always know how important meditation is. And yet it's not in my routine. I will do it every now and then, normally when I'm on the edge of burnout, you know, and I integrate mindfulness into my life every single day. There is so much presence in my life, but meditation is like the most potent medicine. And every time I meditate like that and I linger deeper, right? So this is where the lingering part comes in, because not only did I linger for longer in nature and sit down on that bench to take some deep breaths, but I lingered in the meditation. Now, if you've ever tried meditating before, you will know that there is a point where you feel like you hit a wall and all you can hear is the voice in your head and you think, this is stupid. Can it all just hurry up so I can get that amazing fuzzy feeling? You're waiting for this moment to come. And there comes a point where you just want to open your eyes and give it all up. And I remembered my mantra: the longer you linger, the deeper the magic. And it encouraged me to sit longer in this meditation just when my mind was getting so fucking irritable. And I passed through the threshold of irritation that I would normally stand up and quit the meditation in. Like, normally when I hit that threshold during a meditation, I go, right, well, I did my 10 minutes. Right, well, I tried. And that mantra, the longer you linger, the deeper the magic, it sat my ass down for 20 minutes in nature, and I pushed through that threshold and I got to experience the bliss that you can achieve through meditation. If you've never meditated before, the feeling I'm describing, everyone has a different way of describing it, right? But I would say I become the embodiment of just pure fucking love. And it's this delicious, fuzzy fizziness. That's how I would describe it. And that's what I'm always sort of pining for in life, is that feeling. But it's not something that exists outside of you. It's already inside of you. And what meditation does is just removes all the crap between you and the delicious fuzzy fizziness. That's who you really are. You are the delicious fuzzy fizziness, and meditation is a tool that helps you to quiet the noise, the fear. Actually, that's a lie. It doesn't even get quiet. You just shift your focus away from it. So yeah, today I really embodied that mantra. The longer you linger, the deeper the magic. I embodied it during a meditation, and I realized that it doesn't just apply to lingering in your lobby or lingering in a coffee shop or lingering on the street to create new connections. It applies to literally every single thing in your life. When I was stretching this morning, right, and I was doing this sideways stretch. So imagine I'm like stood tall with my arms in the air, and then I leaned all the way to the left, and it stretches the whole entire right side of my body. And instead of just pulling up after a few seconds, I took a really, really deep breath. And it made the stretch so much fucking deeper. It felt amazing. And I was thinking, the longer you linger, the deeper the magic. It applies to stretching. It applies to when I'm writing. Whenever I tell people that I've published 3 books, they think it's absolutely insane and they can't even imagine having the attention span to constantly go back to a manuscript, right? They're like, how the fuck do you even write a book? And on this theme of lingering, I have to linger, right? So I have to stay on the page when I'm writing and it feels like shit. I have to choose to stay my ass on that fucking table and keep writing one more sentence and one more sentence when I feel like what I'm writing is garbage, which most of the time that's the case. You know, my last book, Women Living Deliciously, that I published last year, that I think when it went to print, it was at 100,000 words. Okay? But the first draft of that fucking book is longer than the Bible. It's literally longer than the New Testament Bible. It was 200,000 words long. So that means 100,000 words were completely scrapped because they didn't belong in the book. It's not all good. You know, everything that you create isn't going to be good. You excavate gems and diamonds and original sentences in your writing, the longer you linger on the page. The longer you linger, the deeper the magic. There are chapters of my books sometimes that I write, and they're so brilliant, and they came almost out of me just perfectly the moment after I wanted to quit. And it was my decision to stay in the discomfort and just decide to keep fucking writing that deepened the magic. You know, they say, my book agent said this to me recently, actually. We were having a chat and she said, well, you know, Floss, they say pregnant women, when they start saying, I've had enough of this, I can't do it any longer, that is when they're close to delivering the baby. I think one of the things I wanted to talk about today is that this lingering thing, the most potent part of it is that you pass the threshold of discomfort. And that is where the magic is. So when you're meditating or you're writing or you're in a coffee shop and you're looking around at people and you feel uncomfortable making eye contact with someone, if you just wait a beat, like a beat, literally one beat, 1 second, you unlock a new level for yourself just through staying and standing in the discomfort or the irritation. There is magic on the other side of that threshold of discomfort. And so the longer you linger in your life, even between your words, I made the intention before doing this episode that I wanted to not rush. Nothing good has ever come out of my life from rushing. And that's why I love having this show now and creating this space for myself because I'm so good at doing the short reels. I'm so good at entertaining people because that's basically what social media is. It's entertainment, right? I'm good at it all. Like I'm good at doing the high energy extrovert. And there's also this part of me that needs satiating. And that is the woman that wants to be slow as fuck. Because essentially, one of the reasons I love the internet is because I get to connect with you. And there's intimacy here. However weird that feels or sounds, or how parasocial that sounds, I like the internet because I like to connect. And by doing my own show, by doing my own podcast, not only do I get to broadcast my frequency to you, but I have ownership over this. It's so funny because there's a bin man outside and it's so loud. It's so loud. And I can't even tell you the amount of times that I've wanted to just like quit recording this episode. Actually, that's a lie, not this episode. But all of my other podcast episodes, it's this mental battle between me and like technology, or the mic going wrong, or the camera dies, or there's something, or the lighting's not good enough. There's all of these little thresholds of discomfort that I need to stay in so that I can get to the other side and finish an episode. Even with filming my social media content, there are so many thresholds of discomfort that you need to pass to even press post. Because you're not just filming a video and uploading it. You're filming the video, you're editing the video, you're writing the caption, and then you have to get through all of those little levels of discomfort with being seen and being visible just to post something. But if you linger and you let yourself share that stuff, there's magic on the other side of it. I think that's the barrier to entry for the life that you want. That's the barrier to entry for growth in your life, is how much discomfort you can stomach and stand in and stay in. There's another layer to this as well with boundaries. You have to linger when you set a boundary. You have to stay in the discomfort. When you tell someone, I can't do this for you, they are allowed to have their reaction. And you have to stay and linger in the discomfort and let it pass and hold your boundary. So many of us view people's reactions to our boundaries as a sign that we made the wrong choice and we're really bad people. It's a threshold of guilt. They're all thresholds, whether that threshold is irritation, right? While I'm recording my podcast episodes and the bin man's outside, or the camera cuts out, or this, there are so many little things. Or maybe my hair's not looking good today. You know, there are so many little things, thresholds and of discomfort that you need to push through to essentially build the resilience, the muscle of resilience, in order to live the life that you want, in order to deepen the magic. There are many times where you hit that wall where it feels pointless, right? Where you're writing, you're creating art, or you're posting on social media, or you're putting on your outfit and you're going, why am I dressing up all the time? What's the point? What's the point in writing? What's the point in doing my morning journaling? No one's ever going to read it. What's the point? What's the point? What's the point in going to the gym? What's the point in eating healthy? What's the point in this? What's the point in going to bed early? And you hit this wall of discomfort. But all it takes is doing it once, and it completely sets you in a different trajectory. Just doing it once. When you push through, you unlock a new level of yourself. Read one more page of that book that you're reading. Actually look at the bubbles in your Americano when you're sipping it, instead of just mindlessly gulping, and I'm not saying this out of judgment. We all do it. But that's what living deliciously is. Really, is choosing to linger, is choosing to be present even when it feels uncomfortable. Because you never actually get to avoid the discomfort that you're avoiding. It just compounds and it kicks you in the arse tenfold, like a month later. If you're avoiding the discomfort of not doing your journaling every morning, a month from now, you can have a really bad anxiety attack because your head is just all over the place and you didn't give an outlet for your overthinking. If you just pay your discomfort in full now and you linger and you push through that resistance, future you gets to experience more freedom and more magic. Something I want you to think about is, where do you normally stop? When you're writing, when do you stop? And is it because you feel discomfort because it's not working and you're bored? You're bored and you go, oh, I'll just go make a cup of tea. And you get out your chair, you make a cup of tea. You're just avoiding, right? It's essentially procrastination. You're just procrastinating, feeling the discomfort of sitting down at the fucking page and writing and hitting a wall. Where do you normally stop? And can you catch yourself in the moment where you want to dash, in the moment where you want to stop doing that meditation because, this is pointless. In that moment, when that voice in your head tells you to open your eyes from the meditation and stand up, in that moment where you're writing and you go, oh God, this is pointless, I'll just do it tomorrow. In that moment when you're in a coffee shop and someone with a really cool outfit walks in and you want to go and say something, but you don't want to compliment their outfit. Like, where do you normally stop and put a doorstop in your expression? Where does it stop for you? And when do you normally quit? I want you to notice when you normally quit. That's your threshold. That is the moment where you were so fucking close to striking gold. There are chapters in my books that have changed people's lives, the chapters that are most popular, and they came after the moment where I almost quit writing. The longer you linger, the deeper the magic. Stay in those moments of discomfort. The magic belongs to you. And the only price you have to pay to sort of let it crack open inside you so that you can feel it is discomfort. Yeah, this is what separates very talented people from people who never hone their craft and have quite mediocre self-expression. And I'm not even saying that as an insult. It's a skill. You have to hone and work on it every single day. I could not live a life. I could not dare to live a mediocre life. I could not dare, because I sort of get off existentially on seeing how many thresholds of fear that I can break through. And I just sort of level up every single time. I couldn't dare to live a mediocre life. I couldn't dare. And even though you sort of keep yourself safe in mediocrity, because you don't really stand out, right? So you don't have any haters when you're mediocre. So that's nice, I guess. I just couldn't do it to myself. It would be too much of an insult to the person that I am. Isn't that Kurt Cobain quote? Wanting to be someone else is a waste of the person you are. You know, I had that quote pinned on my mirror when I was 14. That reminded me not to make myself smaller because it's fucking boring. And you know this. You feel like a coward. You feel like you're a coward when you're not being your full self, and it doesn't feel good. So you might as well fuck around. See what you're capable of when you linger. When you stay in the discomfort for longer than you think you are capable of, and you discover that actually you're capable of doing much more, you know? I've written and published 3 books, and they're fatties. They're fatties. They're big books. And they were even fatter before they were edited. And you only get that glistening gold gorgeousness through making multiple failed attempts. Remember, the first drafts of my books, they're like 200,000 words long. I am a gusher. Part of the antidote to my perfectionism, which you might not think I have because I'm talking about how much I write and everything, but I have crippling perfectionism. I cannot even fathom the idea of putting out a piece of work that I don't think is absolutely exceptional. I just can't even fathom it. I'm very obsessed with what I do. And there is no other option for me but greatness. There is no other option. And so, yeah, I'm a perfectionist. But I also know that in order to create anything great, you need to do a lot of failed attempts. And I think that's actually the perfect sort of composite for an artist, is to take your work very seriously and to not settle for anything less than your absolute best. And also know that it takes multiple attempts to ever achieve anything great. I've learned so much about myself over the last week just from trying to record this podcast. There are so many moments where I almost didn't linger in the discomfort, you know, like the bin man outside. Last week, when that happened, I was like, oh, I guess this is a sign from God for me to stop recording this episode. And I just stopped recording. There is gold and magic waiting for you on the other side of discomfort, on the other side of that threshold. The discomfort is the doorway for magic. The longer you linger, the deeper the magic. So yeah, keep going. Because that's where most people quit. Most people quit when it gets uncomfortable. most people quit at that threshold. They intellectualize that threshold and say, well, it must be because I'm not supposed to do this. It must be because I'm a shit writer. It must be because I'm not meant to meditate today. Whatever. What are some other ways that lingering sort of manifests? You really can apply it to anything. Every time I sort of like hang out at a coffee shop for a bit longer, or I stay writing after I finished my coffee, you know, I'll speak for myself. Sometimes when I finish my coffee, I'm like, okay, I guess it's time for me to go, out of this like weird guilt that I have in my body for staying in a coffee shop once I finish my drink. And you just stay and you stay and you stay and you stay. Oh my God, the amount of writing that I've got done. You know, wait for someone to ask you to, no one's going to ask you to fucking leave. Just get another coffee, whatever. But stay when it gets uncomfortable. Force yourself to sit your ass down and write and meditate and complete that fucking project. Just get it out. Just get it out. The longer you linger, the deeper the magic. Oh, I've enjoyed this episode so much. And you know why I enjoyed it so much? Because I lingered. Okay, I think that's everything that I have to say. I love you. Mwah!